All right, so if you're a developer on Azure AI, you have definitely noticed that things are, well, they're changing. What's happening over at ai.azure.com is nothing short of a seismic shift. And today, we're going to break down exactly what this new Foundry frontier really means for you. Let's dive in.
So, first things first, let's just clear the air, because I know what you're thinking. Wait a second, wasn't this thing called Azure AI Studio? Or Azure AI Foundry? And you know what? You're not wrong. The name has been a bit of a moving target lately.
And here's a quick look at that journey. You see, before 2024, it was Azure AI Studio. That evolved into Azure AI Foundry. And now, we're seeing the whole platform being called the Microsoft Foundry. But, and this is the important part, this is so much more than just slapping a new name on it. And that right there is the core idea of this whole explainer. Microsoft has gone back to the drawing board and fundamentally redesigned the architecture, the way you work as a developer, and even the whole philosophy behind their AI platform. This is a deep structural change.
So, what does this actually look like in practice? Well, Microsoft is now shipping two different portal experiences, and they live side by side. You've got Foundry New and Foundry Classic. Let's break down these two coexisting worlds.
At a high level, the difference is pretty clear. You're going to find yourself using the classic portal for your legacy Azure machine learning stuff, think prompt flow, or when you're deploying open source models on managed compute. The new portal, on the other hand, is a super focused, streamlined experience that's built from the ground up for one thing: building the next generation of AI agents. Now, this is where it gets really interesting: the architectural split. The classic hub-based model that lived under the machine learning services provider, right? And it made you spin up separate storage accounts and key vaults. The new Foundry project model just simplifies everything. It lives under cognitive services, it has a much cleaner parent-child relationship, and you don't need those extra resources by default. But, and it's a big but, notice the trade-offs. Prompt flow and managed compute for those open source models are, at least for now, classic-only features. So, the really crucial point here is this consolidation under a single resource provider. Now, why should you care? Because it means unified governance. The same RBAC rules, the same Azure policies, the same networking rules you're already using for services like Azure Speech or Vision, they now just seamlessly apply to Foundry. No more juggling two different security models. And this right here illustrates that new separation of duties perfectly. Your IT admins can lock down the top-level Foundry resource, setting up all the networking, encryption, and policies. And then developers get the freedom they actually need inside their individual Foundry projects to build, test, and evaluate agents without needing admin rights for every little thing. It's a much clearer model. I love this quote from Microsoft's Vinod Soni because it just sums it all up. He says the new portal is not a superset of the classic one. It's not just an upgrade with more features. It is a focused reimagining for a future that's built around smart, autonomous AI agents. So what is the real reason for this massive shift? It's all about this: the new agent service. This is the absolute star of the show, and it's what turns Foundry into a true enterprise-grade factory for building agents. And that factory comes with an incredible toolbox. The new Foundry tool catalog gives your agents access to over 1,400 pre-built tools. We're talking everything from Azure AI Search and Code Interpreter to connectors for SharePoint and Microsoft Fabric. It's huge. And one of the most powerful new tools is Foundry IQ. I want you to think of it like a secure, managed brain for your agents. It can connect directly to your company's data in places like SharePoint. It automatically chunks and embeds it. And this is the crucial part: its retrieval engine actually understands and enforces user permissions when it gets a query. Then you have agent memory. This is a total game changer for creating experiences that feel truly personal. It gives agents a long-term memory, so they can remember user preferences, conversation histories, and key details across totally separate chat sessions. And here is where it all comes together. The new portal lets you orchestrate multiple agents into really complex workflows. You can visually build these sequential flows where one agent hands off a task to another, or create dynamic group chats where agents collaborate on a problem. You can even build in human approval steps, all within this slick visual editor. Okay, this all sounds pretty fantastic, right? But let's get down to the practical side of things. We need to talk about how you plan for your projects and, of course, how you're going to pay for all this new power. Because it's the question every single developer and every IT manager eventually asks. This is all great, but what's it going to cost me? So Microsoft has a few core models. You've got your standard pay-as-you-go, which is flexible per-token billing, perfect for development or workloads that are all over the place. Then for consistent, high-volume production traffic, you can reserve capacity with provisioned throughput units, or PTUs. That's going to give you predictable costs and better rates. And of course, any third-party models from the marketplace will have their own billing terms to watch out for. So what does this look like in the real world? Let's take a common task, like evaluating your agent inside a CI/CD pipeline. The whole process is now incredibly simple. You just use a GitHub action to log in. You point it to your project endpoint and a JSON file with your test questions. You list out the different agent versions you want to compare, and you hit run. The action automatically calls the agents, runs the evaluations, and spits out a summary report. It's that easy. All right, so we've covered the architecture, the powerful new features, and the practical stuff. And that brings us to the final and most important question. When should you make the move to this new Foundry experience? Think of this table as your decision-making cheat sheet. You should move to the new portal right now if you're building those agentic apps, if you need multi-agent workflows, or if you want to tap into that huge tool catalog, memory, or Foundry IQ. However, you're going to need to stay on Classic for now if you really depend on prompt flow, if you deploy open source models on managed compute, or if you need those traditional Azure ML training features. Now, the good news here is that the migration itself isn't some massive nightmare. You just create a new Foundry project under your existing top-level resource. Your model deployments and data files, they'll transfer over automatically. The main work for you will be updating your SDK code to use the new project endpoints instead of the old connection strings. And that right there, that's the final takeaway. Microsoft has drawn a very clear line in the sand. Foundry New is the future. It is their enterprise AI agent factory. So the guidance is simple. Start all of your new projects there. Hit the ground running in the new world. You only fall back to the classic experience when you absolutely have to, for a specific feature that just hasn't made the leap yet. The shift is on, and now you know where you need to be.